Hey there, beautiful humans. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Zaki, and today we're diving deep into the shadows of the mind to explore something that silently consumes millions of lives worldwide: Major Depressive Disorder. Imagine waking up every morning feeling like you're trapped underwater, where colors fade to gray and even the simplest tasks feel like climbing Mount Everest. That's the reality for those battling severe depression. Before we journey further, I need to emphasize that this video isn't a substitute for professional diagnosis. If you're struggling in the darkness, please reach out to a healthcare professional who can offer you a guiding light. What we're creating today is a judgment-free sanctuary to understand a labyrinth of depression, both for warriors fighting this battle and for allies who want to support their loved ones through the storm. Depression isn't just a case of the blues or a temporary emotional thundercloud. It's a complex medical condition that infiltrates how you feel, think, and navigate to the landscape of daily life. Today, we're tearing down the Hollywood curtain to reveal what severe depression truly looks like beyond the stereotypes and oversimplifications that flood our screens and social media feeds. So what exactly lurks behind the clinical term Major Depressive Disorder, or MDD? Picture this. It's not just feeling down. It's as if someone dimmed all the lights in your emotional house and changed all the locks. In clinical terms, it's a pervasive mood disorder characterized by a relentless shadow of sadness, a hollowing emptiness that carves you from within, or a hair-trigger irritability that transforms even gentle interactions into sandpaper against raw skin. These emotional states come bundled with a constellation of physical and cognitive changes that don't just touch your life, they hijack it completely. What separates depression from a natural ebb and flow of human emotion isn't just how bad it feels, but its crushing intensity, its stubborn persistence, and its devastating tsunami-like impact across every corner of your existence. Clinicians look for symptoms that have haunted someone for at least 2 weeks before considering an MDD diagnosis. But the sobering reality? Without proper intervention, this invisible predator can stalk someone's mind for months, years, or even decades, stealing countless moments that could have been filled with joy, connection, and purpose. Let's venture into the neurological battleground where depression wages its silent war. When someone dismissively says depression is all in your head, they're accidentally stumbling upon a profound truth, because depression literally rewires and chemically alters the most complex organ in the human body, your brain. The scientific evidence is overwhelming. Imagine your brain as an intricate symphony where chemical messengers called neurotransmitters, serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine, orchestrate your emotions, motivation, and pleasure. In depression, this delicate harmony descends into chaos. Brain scans reveal architectural renovations you never signed up for. Certain regions physically shrink while neural superhighways get rerouted or fall into disrepair. Meanwhile, inflammation, the body's response to threat, inexplicably smolders in brain tissue, while hormonal systems that regulate everything from stress to metabolism fall dramatically out of balance. But here's what's particularly insidious. Depression doesn't respect the arbitrary boundary of your skull. It's a whole-body insurgency. That's why people battling this condition often find themselves imprisoned in exhaustion, so profound it makes gravity feel stronger, sleep patterns that either abandon them to nighttime thought spirals or drag them into excessive slumber, appetites that either vanish or become insatiable, and mysterious physical pain that migrates through the body, like a ghost that medical tests can't seem to capture. When the cloak of severe depression envelopes someone, we're no longer talking about occasional blue moods. We're describing an invasive force that systematically dismantles a person's ability to function in everyday life. While everyone's journey through the Shadowland charts a unique path, certain landmarks appear with haunting regularity on these emotional maps. The emotional devastation arrives like a perfect storm, an unrelenting downpour of sadness that doesn't respond to normally joyful events, a hollowing emptiness where personality once lived, and a horizon darkened by hopelessness that makes planning for tomorrow feel pointless. Perhaps most cruel is anhedonia, where activities that once sparked joy now generate nothing, as if someone unplugged the pleasure centers of your brain. Self-worth crumbles under the weight of irrational guilt, while intrusive thought about death or suicide may begin their terrifying whispers. The physical manifestations transform the body into unfamiliar territory. Sleep either eludes you completely, leaving you staring at ceiling shadows until dawn, or it claims excessive hours, yet somehow never refreshes. The scale delivers dramatic news, as weight plummets or climbs without intention. A bone-deep exhaustion infiltrates every cell, making simple tasks like showering feel like running marathons. Your body's very rhythm changes. Movements and speech may drag like you're wading through invisible molasses, or paradoxically, anxiety might wind you so tight you can't stop fidgeting or pacing. Meanwhile, your mental clarity dissolves into a frustrating fog. Concentrating on anything becomes an Olympic event. Decisions as simple as choosing breakfast become paralyzing puzzles. Memory fails you at critical moments, and your thought patterns circle endlessly around negative interpretations of everything you encounter, as if your mind installed a filter that only allows painful perspectives to reach consciousness. Here's a crucial truth that needs to be shouted from the rooftops. Severe depression isn't a mood that someone can simply snap out of with a positive attitude, a walk in nature, or by choosing happiness. Telling someone with severe depression to just cheer up is as medically sound as telling someone with a broken leg to just walk it off. This isn't about lacking willpower, having a weak character, or not trying hard enough. It's a legitimate medical condition that requires proper treatment, just as diabetes needs insulin or a heart condition needs cardiology care. What makes depression particularly devious is its self-perpetuating nature. The very symptoms that define it create nearly impenetrable barriers to seeking help. Imagine trying to make important medical decisions while your brain is actively convincing you that nothing matters, that you're not worth helping, and that the future is hopeless anyway. Picture trying to navigate complex healthcare systems when getting out of bed requires heroic effort. Consider the challenge of explaining your invisible suffering when fatigue has stolen your words and cognitive fog has scattered your thoughts. For many, the seemingly simple act of picking up a phone to call a doctor becomes a Herculean task, equivalent to climbing Everest in flip-flops. Technically possible, but requiring strength that depression has already strategically depleted. Depression rarely announces itself with a single, identifiable cause that we can neatly point to and say, "Aha, that's the culprit." Instead, it typically emerges from a perfect storm where biological vulnerabilities collide with psychological wounds and social circumstances to create a complex mental health tapestry unique to each person. On the biological canvas, we find genetic predispositions that can run through family trees like invisible threads. If your blood relatives have danced with depression, your neurological risk factors might be elevated before you take your first breath. Your brain's delicate chemical ballet, architectural layout, and communication networks may have vulnerabilities only revealed under certain conditions. Medical conditions like thyroid dysfunction, chronic pain that never grants a moment's peace, autoimmune disorders, or even certain medications prescribed for unrelated issues can all trigger depressive episodes by creating biochemical chain reactions that cascade through mind and body. Psychologically, certain personality structures may create fertile ground for depression. Those with highly neurotic tendencies who experience emotions intensely, perfectionists who never meet their own impossible standards, or individuals whose internal narratives constantly predict catastrophe. Early childhood experiences cast long shadows, especially trauma that rewires developing brains and creates maladaptive survival patterns that persist long after the danger is past. Negative thought patterns become deeply grooved neural highways that automatically interpret life through darkened lenses, while coping mechanisms learned early might offer temporary relief but ultimately deepen depression's hold. Meanwhile, in our social dimensions, major life earthquakes like losing a job, ending a marriage, or grieving a loved one can shatter our emotional foundations. The slow erosion of chronic stress, whether from toxic workplaces, troubled relationships, financial insecurity, or the daily grind of discrimination, gradually depletes our psychological resources. Social isolation removes critical emotional buffers, while socioeconomic challenges create barriers to basic needs and quality care. Exposure to violence, neglect, or abuse can inflict wounds that, without proper healing, become vulnerability points for depression's entry into our lives. It's absolutely crucial to understand that depression is a great democratizer. It can infiltrate any life regardless of external circumstances, wealth, fame, success, or privilege. Some of the most heartbreaking cases involve individuals whose lives appear enviably perfect from the outside. Successful careers, loving families, financial security, and public admiration. Yet they're silently drowning in the depths of severe depression behind closed doors. This painful paradox often creates an additional layer of suffering, as these individuals become trapped in thoughts like, "How dare I feel this way when I have so much?" Or, "I have everything people dream of, so what's wrong with me that I can't feel happiness?" This toxic shame becomes yet another barrier to seeking help, as they fear judgment or disbelief from others who might see only their external blessings and not their internal anguish. This reality underscores why approaching depression with genuine compassion, rather than skepticism or judgment, isn't just kind, it's potentially life-saving. The human brain, with its intricate neurochemistry, genetic expressions, and response patterns, doesn't conform neatly to external circumstances. Someone living in a mansion can have the same neurological dysfunction as someone struggling for basic needs. The seemingly confident CEO might battle the same devastating thought patterns as someone unemployed. The apparently perfect parent, partner, or friend might be fighting invisible biochemical battles that no amount of gratitude journaling or positive thinking can overcome. Behind every human face, regardless of how put together it appears, lies a complex neuro-universe we cannot see, experiencing emotions in ways we cannot fully comprehend without walking in their specific neurological footprints. Now for the ray of hope breaking through these heavy clouds. Depression, even in its most severe forms, is treatable. Despite how permanent and unchangeable it feels to those in its grip, there are multiple evidence-based pathways that have guided millions back toward the light of recovery. Treatment for severe depression typically weaves together several complementary approaches, creating a personalized recovery blueprint. Medication interventions can be transformative game changers. Antidepressants like selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, SSRIs, work like neurochemical rebalancing agents, helping your brain restore proper levels of crucial mood-regulating neurotransmitters. Serotonin-norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors, SNRIs, cast a slightly wider net by targeting multiple neurotransmitter systems simultaneously. Other medication classes like atypical antidepressants, tricyclics, or MAOIs might be brought into the equation when standard approaches aren't sufficient. An important reality check. These medications aren't instantaneous mood elevators, but rather gradual brain chemistry recalibrators that typically require 4 to 6 weeks of consistent use before revealing their full therapeutic potential. Finding your perfect medication match often resembles a delicate dance of trial and adjustment, requiring patience, detailed symptom tracking, and transparent collaboration with your doctor to fine-tune dosages or try different options until the ideal balance is achieved. Meanwhile, the therapeutic landscape offers equally powerful healing through various psychotherapy approaches. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, functions as a thought detective, helping you identify, challenge, and ultimately restructure the distorted mental narratives fueling depression. Interpersonal therapy shines its healing spotlight on relationship patterns and social functioning, helping rebuild connections that depression may have damaged. Psychodynamic approaches excavate the deeper layers of your life story, connecting past experiences and unconscious patterns to present suffering. Behavioral activation serves as a strategic bridge back to engagement, helping you gradually reconnect with activities that generate meaning, pleasure, and accomplishment, even when motivation seems completely absent. Beyond the realm of medications and therapy, lifestyle modifications can serve as powerful supporting players in depression recovery, not as replacements for professional treatment, but as complementary healing forces. Regular physical movement, whether gentle yoga, brisk walks in nature, or more vigorous exercise, has been repeatedly shown to release natural mood-enhancing compounds in your brain, reduce inflammation, and improve neuroplasticity. Establishing sleep hygiene rituals that promote consistent, restorative rest can help stabilize mood cycles disrupted by depression. Nutritional approaches that emphasize brain-supporting foods rich in omega-3s, antioxidants, and complex carbohydrates can provide the biological building blocks needed for neurotransmitter production. Hydration, while seemingly simple, plays a critical role in cognitive function and energy regulation. Stress management techniques like mindfulness meditation, deep breathing practices, or progressive muscle relaxation can activate your parasympathetic nervous system, the biological rest and digest mode that counterbalances the stress response so often stuck in on position during depression. For those battling severe, treatment-resistant depression, modern medicine offers several more intensive interventions that can be literally life-saving. Electroconvulsive therapy, ECT, which bears little resemblance to its outdated, dramatized portrayals in media, has been refined into a safe, precise procedure that produces remarkable improvement rates of 70 to 90% even in the most treatment-resistant cases. Transcranial magnetic stimulation, TMS, utilizes focused magnetic fields to gently activate specific brain regions involved in mood regulation without requiring anesthesia. Ketamine therapy, particularly intravenous or intranasal esketamine, represents one of the most exciting breakthroughs in depression treatment in decades, offering rapid relief, sometimes within hours rather than weeks, for those who haven't responded to traditional approaches. For some individuals, structured intensive outpatient programs provide the comprehensive support needed for recovery, while inpatient hospitalization becomes a crucial safety intervention during periods of acute suicidal risk. The golden rule of depression treatment is recognizing its highly individualized nature. Your specific depression fingerprint is unique, and consequently, your recovery pathway will be equally personalized. What transforms one person's depression may barely impact another's. The journey often involves patience and persistence through different treatment combinations before finding your optimal healing formula. The crucial message here is hope. If your first treatment approach doesn't deliver the relief you deserve, numerous alternative pathways remain unexplored, each potentially holding your key to recovery. If someone you love is battling the invisible war of depression, you might feel utterly helpless, watching them suffer while desperately searching for the right words or actions that might pierce through the darkness encasing them. The truth is, your presence alone can be a profound lifeline, even when it doesn't immediately appear to make a difference. One of the most powerful gifts you can offer is compassionate listening, without rushing to solve or fix their pain. Create space for them to express their darkest thoughts without fear of judgment, criticism, or toxic positivity. When well-meaning phrases like, just cheer up, think positive, others have it worse, or look on the bright side, slip out, they often land like daggers that invalidate the legitimate neurobiological reality of depression. Instead, try validating statements like, I can't fully understand what you're experiencing, but I believe you. Your feelings are real and valid. Or simply, I'm here with you in this. Become a gentle bridge to professional help by offering concrete assistance, researching therapists who specialize in depression, making initial phone calls that feel impossible to them, offering transportation to appointments, or sitting quietly in waiting rooms if they welcome your presence. Remind them that seeking help isn't admitting defeat, but rather an act of immense courage and self-compassion, similar to how we wouldn't hesitate to seek medical help for diabetes or a broken bone. Depression recovery rarely follows a linear trajectory. Expect ups and downs, progress and setbacks. Your patience and consistent presence matter enormously, even when improvement seems imperceptible. Small, thoughtful gestures scattered across time, a text message simply checking in without expecting a response, dropping off a favorite meal during energy crashes, or offering to accompany them on a short walk when isolation has become suffocating, can gradually help rebuild a connection depression severed. Remember to check in regularly, understanding that their lack of response isn't rejection, but often depression's energy conservation in action. Perhaps most crucial in this supporting role is tending to your own well-being. Loving someone through depression can be emotionally depleting and may trigger your own grief, frustration, or helplessness. Establish healthy boundaries that allow you to be a sustainable source of support rather than burning out completely. Connect with support groups for families and friends of those with depression. Consider your own therapy to process complex emotions, and remember that your self-care isn't selfish, but rather essential for maintaining the strength to continue showing up with compassion. Perhaps the most liberating truth for those supporting a loved one with depression is recognizing that you cannot single-handedly fix their condition, no matter how desperately you wish you could or how much love you pour into the attempt. Depression is not a problem to be solved through willpower, tough love, or inspirational speeches. It's a complex medical condition requiring professional intervention, much like you wouldn't attempt to treat someone's cancer or set their broken femur at home through sheer determination and care. Release yourself from the impossible responsibility of being their cure. Instead, understand that your presence, patience, authentic understanding, and help accessing professional care constitute the perfect balance of what you can realistically offer. Your love matters tremendously in their recovery journey, but it works most powerfully alongside clinical treatment rather than attempting to replace it. So as we emerge from this deep dive into the shadowy waters of major depressive disorder, let's crystallize what we discovered. This devastating condition represents far more than temporary sadness. It's a serious but ultimately treatable neurobiological reality that silently torments millions of people worldwide. It infiltrates every dimension of existence through its signature constellation of persistent emotional darkness, loss of pleasure and interest, physical manifestations, and cognitive disruptions that collectively hijack daily functioning. If you're currently trapped in depression's suffocating embrace, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not broken, you are not weak, and you are absolutely not alone in this struggle. The very fact that you're still here, still breathing, still searching for understanding through videos like this one, demonstrates extraordinary courage that deserves recognition. Help is available, and despite how permanent this darkness feels, countless others have found their way back to light through proper treatment. The journey toward healing begins with a single brave step: reaching out to a healthcare professional who can help chart your personalized path to recovery. And if you're witnessing someone you love vanish into depression's fog, know that your compassionate presence, educated understanding, and consistent support can become the lifeline they grasp while professional treatment works its gradual healing. Your patience through their darkest moments might just be the tether that helps them hold on until treatment can illuminate their way forward. Thank you for walking alongside me through this exploration of the depths and dimensions of severe depression. My deepest hope is that this video serves as both a lighthouse for those currently navigating these treacherous waters and a compass for those trying to support loved ones through the storm. If you found value in this conversation, please take a second to hit that like button. It helps tremendously with the YouTube algorithm and allows this information to reach others who might be silently suffering. And if you're hungry for more authentic conversations about mental health that strip away the stigma and shine light on our shared human struggles, please subscribe to Zachaprat right now. I'm committed to creating a sanctuary of understanding in this digital space, where we can explore the full spectrum of mental health with both scientific integrity and heartfelt compassion. I'd love to hear from you in the comments, whether you share your own experiences, asking questions, or suggesting topics for future videos that would support your well-being journey. Remember, in a world that often encourages us to mask our pain behind filters and facades, your vulnerability becomes someone else's permission to heal. Until we meet again in the next video, please be extraordinarily gentle with your magnificent mind. Tend to your emotional guard with the same devotion you'd give to someone you deeply love. And remember that even the darkest night eventually surrenders to dawn.